She's an accomplished international speaker, and we're very fortunate to have her with us this morning, particularly since she was sufficiently resourceful to be able to agree at short notice to the nightmare scenario, stand in for a speaker who wasn't able to make it from the USA. Sarah, before she joined UEL, she was a director of ICS, which is a provider of distance education, and there she was involved in product development, program delivery, sales and customer service, or rather in developing the people who did those things. You've heard enough from me. Sarah.
Good afternoon. Hopefully the presentation that I'm about to take you through will demonstrate a learnscape that is really complementary to all of the facts and ideas that Charles has been sharing with us through his presentation. And what I'm going to focus on is looking at a learnscape that we've developed for use with, particularly initially with our law students at the university. So we'll look at the reason why we developed the learning tool, talk a little bit about the pedagogical approach. I'm not an academic at the university, so there will be a little bit about the pedagogical approach, and I'll be able to point people in the direction of more academically minded people should they wish more pedagogical information. Look at the real life context, and if we think about what Charles has just been saying about how do we create opportunities for people to use learning in a real life context, I think that is particularly difficult when you're working with the students in a university, but it's also equally difficult in your own businesses and organisations, because really you want somebody to be able to learn from their mistakes in a safe environment, rather than perhaps risking a new and critical client relationship. We'll look at the technical process for developing the learnscape and talk about some of the challenges of doing that. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a very brief demonstration of part of the learning tool, and then I'll share some of the feedback from our students that have been working with the tool. The learnscape is called Making a Plea and Mitigation, and what we've tried to do with this learnscape is to give the students an opportunity to feel like they are really in a practice situation, that they've got the position in this learnscape of a junior barrister, and it uses the scenario-based interaction that is set in virtual locations which are very authentic for the student to practice with. So we were really trying to find new ways of being able to demonstrate to students about the skills that they're learning. Actually, they will need them in the real world. We've all sat in classes, and both at school and in university, thinking, well, what possible use could algebra ever be to me? I'll never need to use it again. And it's very difficult sometimes to, when you're just being faced with a lot of theory, to understand what bits you really, really need to get a grip of, because you're going to have to use them in the real world situation, whatever that might be. And I think, again, if we look at 70-20-10, all we have with a traditional way of teaching in universities is the 10%. And I would really question how much of that 10% any student retains on their way from the lecture theatre to the student union bar. And I think everybody, there's a lot of sort of guilty faces around the room, so I would suggest that we can all recollect that by the time we'd reached the student union bar, we only had the vaguest idea what the lecture had been about, and we thought, anyway, there's lots of times till the exams, so I'll learn it just before the exam. And if we're thinking about that just-in-time learning and how we have those prompts that Charles was talking about to prompt things from the long-term memory into the working memory, then if you're a first-year law student, it could be 4 years or more before you actually have to use any of the information that you had in that lecture, on that module, on that programme in the first year. So there is a real challenge there about how can we ensure that we do get the information into the working memory, and the only way to do that is to find a way of creating this 70%, the real world opportunity. opportunities. The Law Society of England and Wales is something that I don't often quote from, and have to say probably not terribly often inspired by, but I do think this quote from the review that they had is very, very applicable, in that the traditional format that we're used to in our universities is an underwhelming student experience for learning law, and not just for learning law. Most universities are, like UL,